Hello and welcome, my beloved spawns. I hope you all had a great day or great night, a great weekend especially. And I'm glad to have you back. Yay! As you can see today with new stream design and layout, which we'll be testing for a while. I'm just testing around with the different layout options. Yes, evolution. And I think it's pretty fitting right now. So, how was your weekend? Yes, I will start with drinking something. Not long enough, that's a feeling I can absolutely relate to. Well, um, time shifts this weekend obviously did throw the things. Hey, DM Stretch, how are you? Um, Time shifting makes things a little bit difficult. Usually I was right after Kahuna, but he ended about half an hour before I started. And woohoo! Thanks, Siobhan. I got an emote, an additional one. Yay! Perfectly fine. Hi, Barbarossa. How are you? Um, ooh, drinking again. Technical difficulties are. Thank you, Barbarossa, and an additional emote. Yay! um, I had a little bit of a discussion on Friday, and it was about World Anvil and how restricted the Freeman tier is to actually world build on it. So I had another talk with TJ after that discussion, and we thought both that we should do some showcase worlds. And yeah, actually, I decided to go a step further. I will create a new second account today, which will be Freeman tier, and I will create a world within that account to show off my tutorial stuff and world building stuff, because everything I do from now in Andrevin would be too much of a spoiler for you. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know how to cancel, but I'm not sure when they charge it. Um, so well, yes, I will create a new account, I will create a new world, and we will have some world building and tutorial fun within that new world, but limited through the fact that it will be a Freeman world, and only when we reach the limits of that Freeman world building abilities, I will upgrade as long as my Twitch revenue allows it. So when we reach the limits of the journeyman of the Freeman, I will upgrade this account to journeyman, and we will continue there, so you can have a look at which tier can do what, and it will be hopefully helpful for those people who are pretty new at World Anvil and don't know where to start, what to do. Also, it may be helpful for those of you who want to start a new world and are not sure where to start. And it wouldn't be me if I wouldn't make some kind of a project out of it. And this project will be a little bit more difficult. I want to create a World of Darkness world. It will be a city-based setting, but we will do some conversions to Pathfinder so that we can have sort of Fangfinder. So World of Darkness within the Pathfinder system, and I will do in further streams the reverse option, so include Pathfinder races especially into the Chronicles of Darkness. So I hope I made that understandable what I want to do. Yes, it is a vampire thing. World of Darkness is the original Vampire the Masquerade setting, which evolved to Chronicles of Darkness with Vampire the Requiem. And because of the old World of Darkness, which is Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse and so on, the World of Darkness of the werewolves was not the World of Darkness of Vampire. The Chronicles of Darkness is way more inclusive. You can have werewolves from Werewolf game line and vampires of the Vampire game line in the same world. And they are pretty much compatible, which is why I decided to go with Chronicles of Darkness for that experiment. So yes, but because I am way too old, of course I will do some conversions of the old clans into Chronicles of Darkness. There was a guide by White Wolf, and yeah, that's what I will do. I will build that city, which is my scope for this world. Just one city setting, and it will be Pathfinder and Chronicles of Darkness. But of course we have to start with account creation, which is why I will switch. Yes, ask your questions while I'm still talking. When I'm doing stuff, it's more difficult. I am wondering at how you start planning and preparing factions in a city setting. Well, it depends. It depends pretty much on the game system I'm working with. I would work differently if I use Shadowrun as a system for my setting, or if I use, for example, the Chronicles of Darkness, which will be pretty much different. And yes, vampire clans are different factions. But usually I take my district map and try to have a look which features within that district are prominent. So if I have, for example, the train station within one district, that will pretty much be underground Nosferatu terrain. Yes, of course, Nosferatu. while museums, for example, would be absolutely toreador terrain. You should have an image of which factions you have in your city, nonetheless, and that is, in my opinion, the more difficult part. You should have an idea of how your factions work out together. Once you've done that, you can decide which features, which districts, which regions would be important to that faction, and how would they gain control over that faction or over that district. So it depends really, really hard on where you start. And yes, of course, Bank District, usually Ventru. The not so cool variant of Ventru. I hope that this answer is helpful in some way. I know that my approach to world building is sometimes a little bit difficult to follow from some people, but usually this is because I have a clear idea of where I want to go with my setting. And within a city, it all depends on districts and on the why. The question you should ask is always, why should this faction go there? And who else is interested in that, which produces conflict? And conflict is something that is important, especially in such a small scale as a city. Well, as I said, I hope that this was in some way helpful. And let's switch over to World Anvil right now. And there we are. Guess? Yes. This is the right scene. I like that layout somehow. Pretty nice. As you can see, World Anvil is partially translated into different languages. For me, it's German. I live in Germany, so the translated parts use the German translation database. But the main content is always... The bats will probably come back. I tried a new theme because I wanted to try different scene layouts and maybe will build them in my future own theme, which will generally have my beloved bats back. Okay, the introductional text here is always in English. It's all about what you can do. You can write within World Anvil, you can have your interactive maps. You can link and cross-reference your content, which is pretty awesome. You have your timelines. You have a search function in your world, which will become pretty handy. You can organize in categories, which is also awesome. In higher tiers, you will have family trees, bloodlines, organization charts, diplomacy webs. This is stuff we won't have as Freemen. I have to say that. And to make clear what we will have, I searched a little bit the Holy Codex and found this listing made by Legna, which is an awesome person. Just to mention, if you have any questions and are in the World Anvil Discord, he is all the way around in the help chat where what I am avoiding, because sometimes people are just upsetting me and I don't want to yell anybody. Okay. This is the Freeman tier where we will start at. That means I don't have to pay anything for World Anvil, and just let me put the ad block out for this page so you can see how many advertisings we will get when we have our world. The limitations are we are only allowed to have 2 worlds, 2 campaigns, 175 articles, 20 drafts. Article exporting is pretty nice to have, but not limiting in any kind. To give you a little range here, that 175 articles is about the amount I currently have in Anvil, in my main world. So this is pretty much. And 20 drafts, it means we can't start and have some articles in the works which is up more than 20 articles, and I think that this is enough. We can have images in our world, which is pretty important. We have 100 megabytes of image storage with 1 megabyte maximum upload. Also pretty. Siobhan, summer camp is pretty easy with 20 drafts because it's not the work in progress, it's a not published part. And to take part in summer camp, you have to publish your articles. So this is, yeah. And you can't have private articles by any means in Freeman tier, which I can absolutely understand. Ah, steps, yes. Our images can be 1 megabyte each, 3.5 megabyte for our maps.